This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Why don't we hear from Tua himself? How about that? Okay, let's do that. Let's play Tua's,
changing gears on me here. Hold on.
Let's play Tua's press conference, and let's hear his conversation yesterday with the media, and we'll break it down like we like to do. Here is the young man Tua addressing the media yesterday.
Hey, Tua, I was curious, how did you spend the bye week? I know it was time to prepare for the Rams. How exactly did you use that time?
Yeah, I was up here a lot. I spent a lot of my time up here at the facility, just watching some film, but also working out. I would say, I got with some of the guys as well, just so we could work on some timing with certain things, certain routes. And really the only off day I had was Sunday.
Steve?
Let me tell you something here. Pause that a second. And this is the kind of stuff that you cannot take for granted. Because when you draft Johnny Manziel, you're drafting a clown that is worried about his image. He needs to go party. He's not the last guy out the building, not the first guy in the building, not dedicated to it, and you end up seeing it. Here's a young man that on his off week, he understands how imperative it is for him to know his craft. And so he will work with receivers like he did. He only had one off day the entire week was Sunday. And you know what he probably did? He probably spent his Sunday watching football. And what's really nice is that you have actually somebody that wants to be a professional. They're paying you a lot of money, and they're ready to hand you a responsibility of being the face of the franchise, the leader of the franchise. And the quarterback has to be the guy that works harder than everybody else. Okay? That's just the way it has to be. You have to set the example. So that way, nobody can slack off. And that's how you send a message that you're in charge and that I'm setting a standard of work ethic that you need to follow. Because if you're going to play with me, then you better be prepared. Okay? And I think that that's one of the things you love about this kid is that he's going to take this job seriously. When he has an off time in the off season, I'm sure he'll take the time to hang out with his parents and his family. And if he has that special someone, I'm sure he'll hang out with that special someone. But this is one of those individuals that understands the immense responsibility that is being placed at his feet. And when you got a guy like Tua, it's pretty cool because it's nice to see a guy that actually understands what he has to do for his teammates and his franchise.
Tua, it's only human nature to have at least a little about the hip. And so I'm wondering, what do you anticipate that first hit is going to feel like, especially because it's been a long time coming?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, but that's just the nature of the game. I don't know what the hit's going to feel like. Every hit is different that you take in football. So I'm really not too sure. And I don't think you could ever prepare for hits. It's just something you got to go out knowing it's going to happen. Whether it's the first play of the game, first quarter, or maybe third, second, fourth. You just never know.
Cam?
Hey, Tua, I noticed that you were, like on social, you posted a video where you had a sweatshirt that said humble over hype. And it stood out to me because obviously you've had a lot of hype coming into the league. How have you sort of managed everybody talking about you and sort of keeping yourself even killed?
Yeah, well, I think what helps for me is my family. My family's not too big on, the hype and whatnot. It's more so just being a good son for them. And a lot of the times when I do come home, and I talk to my parents on the phone, they don't really necessarily want to know about how football went. They just want to know how everything is with, me as a person, just how my day was and things like that. But I think what also helps me too is the coaches here and my teammates. You know, you get joked on and whatnot, you know, and just the competition you have with the guys at the facility. So I don't think anyone here at this organization can kind of get too caught up in any of the hype. Everyone's just so focused on what they got to do to help the team be successful.
I like the fact that he is, as always, grounded and grounded and not buying into the hype, not pulling the Johnny Manziel, oh, you're coming to see me work out? Let me put on shoulder pads and rock and roll music or rap music or whatever the hell he was blaring all over the practice field. And you have these guys, the Odell Beckhams of the world that have to wear a watch on the field. They have to do stupid things to try to bring attention to themselves. They're almost more focused on, you know, the antics than actually the responsibilities. And that's the beauty of a kid like Tua, that, again, the great ones are like that. The great ones are, you know, Michael Jordan was going to go party and go have fun in Vegas and go gamble and all that good stuff. But when it came time to work, nobody was going to outwork him. So he was able to compartmentalize. And not that even Tua has that edge that Michael had off the court. Michael is a special guy, man, because you think about it, he's the guy that could go out till 4 a.m, but he knew that the next day he wasn't going to use it as an excuse on why he struggled. He was going to go out and kick your ass no matter what. Okay, if he had a flu or if he was partying in Vegas till 3 a.m, the next day he was going to hit 45 on your head. And because he was wired differently. And these kind of guys that are wired like Tua, it's nice to know that they're not buying into their own hype. And it's Odell Beckham watching that one-handed grab replayed everywhere, and his head just gets bigger and bigger and bigger throughout, and it becomes an issue for everybody else. That's the good thing. You're not going to get that from Tua. Go ahead, Bill.
About your relationship with Fitz as a father-son relationship. How's it been this week as far as Fitz supporting you, and you feel he'll support you on the sideline Sunday?
It's the same thing as when Fitz was playing. Nothing really feels any different. Now that I'm in, you know, the only thing that's different is I'm getting the reps now. But with Fitz, you know, after series, you know, when we have our first team series, second team series, third team series, I come off to the sideline and Fitz always has something that he wants to say to me, whether it has to do with protection, with where he would look at as far as progression reads, and how he would read certain things out that can make it easier for me, you know, hopefully come time Sunday.
Sofin?
So what's your thoughts on facing, you know, a guy like Aaron Donald, a DB like Jalen Ramsey, and players on that defense on Sunday?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting for our offense and our team. It'll show, you know, what kind of team that, you know, we kind of have, you know, after a bye week and whatnot. But we know what we're going up against. We're going up against one of the top NFL defenses, you know, in the league. And it's not just Jalen Ramsey. It's not just Aaron Donald. You know, you guys got, you know, Leonard Floyd. You guys got Brockers, Young, and then Troy Hill, guys on the back end. You know, so they're very sound defensively. So, you know, we're really trying our best to prepare as well as we can against these guys and their DC and their OC. And, I mean, you know, their head coach, they all know what they're doing. So we know this isn't going to be any easier from here on out.
Travis?
Hey, Tua, how's it going? Back in Indianapolis, I had a chance to talk to your former teammate Xavier McKinney about some of the interactions you guys had post-practice and what you saw and what he saw. Come to find out, we heard from Bobby McCain. He said the same thing about you and him this past training camp. I'm curious what those conversations were like and what you're able to glean from Bobby as far as his defensive perspective on your game.
Yeah, I think the best thing for me to do is get into the mind of those DBs, of those safeties. Like, what are they thinking, like in a 3-by-1 set? And, just things like that. What are some little things that can help me better my game and improve my game, whether it's my eyes or, whether it's, staring down a guy and then throwing it somewhere else. It's just trying to get a little edge on what to look out for when, it's time for a game situation.
That's a great statement because it also shows you that he checks his ego at the door. Some guys may think it's above them to go ask the defensive player what's going on. What are you thinking? What is a DB thinking in this situation? What are you trying to do to the quarterback? And sometimes it's an ego thing. Sometimes it's something that you think you're showing a weakness or something by doing that. And one of the reasons why I have immense confidence in this young man, and again, the only thing I ever worry about has nothing to do with football. It has to do with his body. And can he hold the pounding? And that's the one thing that we have no idea. None of us will know until he takes the field. But when people ask me, do you think he's going to play well? I don't put a number on the stats. Oh, he's going to throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns. None of that. I told you, I just want to see him play smart. But part of playing smart and being fundamental, here's a guy that has a meeting every week with his head coach, who's a defensive-minded guy, to get all that information. And then he's also getting information from defensive players on what they're thinking. So he knows that his defensive players are going to think a lot alike like the other ones that he's facing every week. So why not pick up as much information as possible? Not just from Chan Gailey, not just from my quarterback's coach, not just from my offensive coordinator in college or anybody else, but if I can get information on the other side of the ball, I'm going to do it. And to me, that's why a kid like this is going to be prepared. That's why I tell you that when you go look at his first pass last week against the Jets, or 2 weeks ago against the Jets, and he completes that pass to the left side of Patrick Laird, again, I want you to see that there was another receiver at the line of scrimmage, wide open, easier throw, and he could have made that throw. And yet, under duress, under the pressure, he chose to go to the more difficult throw and fundamentally the smarter throw, because it was the throw that would be caught, go out of bounds, and stop the clock. Whereas the one in the middle of the field or in between the hash marks was going to keep, you probably weren't going to get to the sidelines and stop the clock. So if you were trying to drive to get points, that wasn't going to help you. Smart, man.
You think that went a big way to them making their decision? I mean,
everything.
Dude, you're 6 yards deep. He was on the back end of the end zone.
Yeah.
6 yards deep under your own goalpost. 2 big defensive linemen breathing down your neck.
Right.
And you go to the second, not the check down, the second receive. That's,
I'm telling you.
And hit it on the money running to your line.
This kid must be just putting on a show back there. And that's why they said, we can't stop him anymore. We have to play him. All right, go ahead.
At the quarterback position, obviously leadership is arguably the most important, element. What is now that you're the starter, what is your leadership plan?
Well, I think my leadership plan is just to be the same, the same Tua I've always been. I don't got to go out yelling at guys. That's just not the way I lead. I'm just going to be me, how I am on the sideline, how I am off the field. It's pretty much how I'm going to be on the field. There might be certain instances where, we might get into it a little bit with the receivers or, the linemen. But, everyone's just so competitive here. That's just the nature of how the game goes sometimes.
We'll take 2 more. Josh?
Yeah, knowing that with Chan and just all the experience he has, both in college and the NFL, how much do you think your relationship with I'm not sure what happened to I was just asking about Chan. How much do you think your guys' relationship will help in your development, just knowing all the reps that he has in the league?
Yeah, I think, you look at the resume of Chan. He's been in the NFL. He's been in college. He's been a head coach. He's been an OC. This is someone who knows what he's talking about. And he knows what he's talking about when he talks about the defense, and he knows what he's talking about offensively. So for me, it's just a great opportunity to be able to learn under someone like Chan. I think the really good thing about Chan is, he puts all of us as an offense that he feels like into the best situation possible. So whether it's play calls or, just trying to maneuver guys into areas to put the offense in a good position, I think he does a great job at it.
The last one, Hal.
Hi, Tua. I'd like to ask you about being a left-handed quarterback. It's unbelievably rare in this league now. I'm wondering if you have some thoughts on why it's so rare. And in doing research, I found that there have been some notable left-handed quarterbacks who coaches were so reluctant to coach them that they may have asked them to change positions or what have you. And I know you're a right-hander. I don't know if anyone ever asked you, hey, why don't you just start throwing right-handed? But can you just describe your progression as you came up as a lefty?
Yeah, I do everything right. I eat with my right, swing the bat with my right, golf with my right, do all of that. But anything that has to do with shooting, throwing, it's left. And I think lefties are so rare in football because all of them are in baseball. And so I think that's why it's so rare. It's also probably a lot difficult as probably an OC and probably a little difficult for the receivers as well because the ball spins a different way. But, luckily I'm surrounded by professionals that that can adjust pretty quick to the ball.
When you think about that whole lefty thing with Tua, I have the same issue. I right left, but I do things righty. I'll bat righty. I'll throw righty. I'll shoot lefty. I'll eat lefty. I do. It's weird. Now I'm not ambidextrous, so I write lefty, but I can't write righty. All right. I throw righty, but I can't throw lefty.
Whatever you do right, it can't be done left.
Nope.
Whatever you do left, you can't do it right.
Yeah. But I'm not ambidextrous. So